Hi, Masterminds. Welcome to today's Monday market update. Looking forward to getting straight in. I'm not going to cover too much today. I'm just going to have a very high level look over the charts and maybe look at some opportunities where I'm seeing some things because right now we haven't no real clear confirmation, which is really annoying above the 200-day moving average. It was something that was my benchmark for continued upside, and then ultimately 70,000. We got to close above 70,000. That's when we just rocket and everything flies. I'm seeing a bit of a dynamic across the market. We've had a lot of altcoin pumps. They seem to be turning over a little bit, seem to be petering out. And importantly, if you're watching the pairs, they're bleeding out against Bitcoin. So that's important as well. A lot of the moves have happened, and we're either trying to reload for that higher move, or we're just going to bleed back down a little bit lower. So I'm really watching what is strong and what's not. And you just can't go past good old SUI right now. So maybe we can start there. I'll go to the SUI chart just to have a little look-see-loo. So she broke out to, was it a new all-time high? I was watching it this morning. I have to double check once it loads. But it cracked right into the level Joe said in the mastermind group, 215, which is fantastic. It hit it on the nose. And we had some take profit levels there myself, and he did as well. So that was really, really important. Look, I had this squiggle here and it is following it to a T, which is always so much fun when it does that. It's funny how if you just sort of look at the chart and what might be natural, you can think about, Elliott wave theory and all that kind of stuff. But where you think the price could go can be a fun little experiment. But for me, this seemed just like a sort of a classic rising channel with the break to the upside. Once it's in, it shows strengths in a new trend, and you're expecting a massive markup. Well, then that kind of thing can happen. And when you see that strength moving into the all-time high area, and it consolidates underneath, it's actually reasonably rare in a bull market phase, if we're heading into that, and I think we really, really are, that this just rolls over and just flies. We're accustomed to it. That recency bias over the last 12, 24 months is that, yeah, if we have a massive pump, then you want to be selling that top part. But the mental challenge for a lot of people now will be to actually hold on and, yeah, take that 25% off the table if you feel we're running into some resistance in those good levels, and then reload a little bit lower. But the idea around this is you want to be holding your core position for as long as possible. You take that risk that you are going to hold through the rest of the cycle, sure. But if you're getting tripped up and sort of trading in and out of these major positions, you can really chop yourself up, and it's the opposite of what you want to do. And again, it's a new kind of training that we need to get back into for a bull market. It's why I've held SUI for a lot longer than I would have ordinarily like recently. It's because of that strength and where we are in the cycle. So yeah, hasn't quite made a new all-time high. It's around about that 218 level, but we are approaching that. Now, I firmly believe SUI closes above this $2 like it has here, and we stay above here. SUI's going to do something like this, and it's going to be pretty vicious. So again, strength begets strength, momentum begets momentum, and the market's flowing. It's feeling it. And if you're looking at all these other charts, like stacks, FET, and let's say Pepe and others, if they're not showing this kind of strength, then other people are watching this too, and they're like, all right, well, we need to get in on this. Now look at this. So SUI has just cracked new all-time, no, sorry, excuse me, not new all-time high against Bitcoin. It's broken the range against Bitcoin, and this was a very core level. You can see we rammed into it here, had the sell-off back to the 10 EMA on the daily, ran right back up through it. So there's a bit of a parabola beginning to emerge here, which I think this does go a lot higher. But we just want to be a bit careful. The thing is with these charts, when you've got blue sky ahead, you want to be have the possibility in your mind that this just doesn't really stop. I mean, this could pull a soul. I mean, I had it in the newsletter that this could absolutely pull a soul. And these kind of charts, this was launched over here, and it's just been in this sort of flowy kind of range over a really difficult period for the market. And now we're heading into a really good period for the market. Is it just going to expand and do that big markup that we often see on those larger timeframes? Quite possibly. And I think if these levels continue to close and create these new all-time highs, we continue to see the breakouts against Solana, against Bitcoin, against Ethereum, then SUI's going high. She's going hard. And again, it's like this perfect polarization between you're holding on to maybe some other altcoins, or you're maybe looking to trade some other altcoins, but you're expecting it to do a SUI, but it's just not giving you the information that it is. The data isn't showing you on the charts. It's not breaking ranges. It's not closing above resistance, prior supports, all this kind of stuff. If it's not doing that, then you're looking for the strength. You want to be out there looking for strength. And right now, SUI is the trendsetter, and I believe Tau is as well. Maybe we can look at TAO in a bit. Both seem to be a bit of the early darlings of the market. Now, Bitcoin, we know consolidation, 5 months. We talk about it a lot. Look, we get above this 200 for real. It's on. It's really on. And then conclusive is above 70, but I think the market just wants to close above the 200, wants some surety, and I think we've had a little bit more clarity around who's going to win the US election. It's not much, but it's poly market and it's raging in favor of Donald Trump. So he's just ripped to an 8-point lead against Kamala. I've put in the macro channel in the Discord why I think that is. I think there's a lot of factors contributing to a slow grind and a shift towards Trump being the outright favorite again. It's different things like Pennsylvania. You win Pennsylvania, you win the whole thing essentially in this election. And Trump the polls are looking really good for him. He's now inching into Kamala's margin of error that she needs to hold. She needs to be in front by a few points in all of these polls, according to history, to beat Trump's uncounted polling that's just out there and it's coming. There's a lot of things going on with the hurricane as well, which the response to the hurricane has been looked upon really poorly by a lot of. I'm seeing a lot of media out there, sort of saying, FEMA's doing the right thing and whatnot, but on the ground it seems very, very different, and a lot of people are blaming Biden Harris. Now, this is a very interesting fractal to history where George Bush, Katrina happened under him, and he lost the election because of how poorly it was perceived that it was handled. This is not something you can just not see the comparisons to. It's pretty wild. With a neck-and-neck election, you've got this hurricane, disaster relief, maybe hasn't been handled correctly. You haven't even got Biden going down there either. It looks bad. And Elon Musk came out as well. Donald Trump had a rally in Pennsylvania, in Butler, where he was almost assassinated. Elon Musk came out and did a speech and endorsed, and that's when poly market really, really ramped. So look, there's a few things that are looking good for Trump, and also some states that weren't swing states polling like they might be swing states. So again, there's a lot of things going into it. I think it's just a slow shift. It's not a big move. But we have till the 5th of November. It's not long at all. We should start to see some more concrete information around that as the date gets closer, I think, and probably some shenanigans. If we have a look here, though, we are really, really close to punching up, and I want us to follow this, I guess, yellow squiggle that I've got here. This worried me a little bit this morning, and I risked off just a couple of positions, not much. It was just a percentage point here and there. Like maybe 15 to 25% in some positions. But I saw this sort of really bullish move that was, sort of looking last night like it was going to close above the 200 this morning. But if you look here, this is why you really want to wait till it closes, because this was just sold into quite heavily and it closed beneath. Not the end of the world. This could also be telegraphing that this is where the market wants to go. A lot of the sell orders that were above here have been taken out. And now there's a bit of clear air above. So this move of the next couple of days could be very similar to the yellow line here. However, we do want to be very alert and aware that a close beneath 60,000 is still very much on the cards. If we start to just lose strength and momentum and drift a little bit below, that's where I get a little bit concerned that we could be, again, going back to maybe form another low around here. But this is a really constructive structure that's appearing now. As long as we're making a low above this low here, I think we're still fine. But in the immediate term, if we're closing with 60,000, I do get a bit concerned. So Bitcoin, we are moving towards the US election here. So lots of water to go under the bridge, but I do think we're back above 70,000, leading into the election. That's my personal view, based on nothing really whatsoever other than seasonality and where I just see this chart going. I think we are moving higher slowly but surely. Ethereum still looks really bottomy. Like it looks bottomy, but it looks uncomfortably, which is probably a good spot to be. It looks uncomfortable to buy these areas. It doesn't look like a good chart, but if you're looking for areas to find value, this, you can find a lot of areas worse than this. This kind of choppy action at a major support level on top of this volume. Eventually, ETH is going to go higher against Bitcoin as well. So if you're an Ethereum investor, I think just hold tight. But if you're trading in the short term, you really want to be looking at the strength. And right now, something like SUI has that there. That looks pretty bottoming against Bitcoin as well. But we've said it time and again, we just want to wait for confirmation. That's the thing that, like we're talking with SUI, you want to be waiting for these resistances to close as support, essentially. You want to wait for the market to give you the information that there's strength there and it's going higher. And it's the best way to do it right now. If you're looking for entries, you can be catching the falling knives, sure. If you're a longer term investor, just lowering your cost basis, of course. But using the charts to your advantage and seeing the strength in the market, that's where you really want to get more aggressive. So yeah, that's essentially what I wanted to double back on. Bitcoin dominance. So these charts are just going to be very useful just to watch for altcoin strength. Right now, dominance has had another little rally back into this sort of lower high move here. I could very well see this dropping lower. But again, we want to wait for confirmation. So this here, dominance could go up to 60, absolutely. But with this lower high formation, there is this thought here that we could drop down. Again, we don't know until we get either a close above that 58% or 57%. USDT dominance, let's just have a quick gander. Yeah, drop lower still on the cards, although, it could be gearing up for a lower high move here before it runs back to the highs. Not a lot of signal here, guys, I've got to say. Total three market cap. Let's have a looky-loo. I mean, I don't mind this, but I want it just for security. I want us to get above that, 640 billion, that kind of region. Then we know altcoins are really off. But right here, we're back into the channel. So that's all we can take away from that, unfortunately. Stacks, let's have a quick look. A lot of people are interested in stacks. Yeah, I don't like this, to be honest. As in, it's not a good, when you're looking for strength, it's not a good looking chart. When we're above this high here, this swing high, when we were sitting above it, yeah, I could see we're going to have a real crack at that 200 and maybe get above it. But right here, the risk reward is to just wait. Don't be in stacks right now until we see a close above that $2 level. And once we're above that level, created this nice higher high, and we're above this entire structure over here, which is where you want to be. But don't really like it too much there. Stacks BTC, again, this is just short-term analysis, guys. It's not longer term. Stacks BTC, though, this could be viewed as a very significant bowl into volume here, which is really, really nice. It's not losing any key levels. It's just sort of coming back into previous support regions of volume. So I think if you see any strength in Stacks USDT, it will probably be telegraphed here first, where Stacks makes some ground against Bitcoin. Again, you can wait to move. And I've got there, consider rebuying stacks from Bitcoin at that level, because once you're above that level, it's above the high, it's above the 200 day moving average on stacks. Now, so let's have a quick looky-loo as well. I don't, yeah, and to be honest, Joe and I had a little bit of a disagreement about how we saw Sol. I mean, we don't have a disagreement where it's going, but in the short term, I think Solana doesn't look great, and that's purely because it is struggling at volume support. It is under all these moving averages, and it's below that key horizontal 164. Now, if this breaks above here on the daily and it closes above that 200, opinion change. I don't mind at all. For me, though, this is not a chart I want to be in. I want to be in above those areas there. Sol BTC also not looking, again, this doesn't look terrible, but it's just such an easy risk reward play here, just to wait until it gets above, wait from here, if it gets above there at 6% move. If we can do this sort of thing, then I'm a buyer in there. I'm a buyer in there, and you can just wait. Versus being in here potentially under all these moving averages, and it gets blunted, loses this trend line, and then goes down to the lows here. I'd be buying down there, of course, but yeah, just the risk reward is not for me. We covered SUI. Looks like it's regaining some of its strength, which is awesome. FET was interesting, actually. It's been a little bit sluggish of late after a really nice move. Where are we? But it was looking okay here. It still maintained its higher low trend. It's sort of broken back above, and I want to see it close above here. But this is a nice platform to actually follow the squiggle. So I'll just keep moving it across just to illustrate that. Let's come back into volume, set up for that higher low impulse. So don't mind that at all. Injective, let's just have a look across some of these on the daily. That's a really nice setup, if I'm honest. That looks like she's trying to gear up for a higher, high, higher, low move into that $28 level. Don't mind that at all. I also mentioned the other day in the macro group, guys, that the two charts that kind of worry me a little bit is the DXY, which looks like it's put in a pretty significant bottom here. And this is just, short midterm. And it doesn't necessarily mean Bitcoin's going to go down and crypto's going to go down. But I don't like seeing the dollar rally. This here looks pretty good. So I wanted to see it get blunted into some of these resistances and then roll over again or just chop around for a while. So I don't like that. And also I didn't like that yields were moving higher as well, which looks like they've put in a little bottom here, trying to make a little higher high and a reversal here. Again, not the end of the world, but just watching them. PopCap, wow, has that had a great run. And it was off new all-time highs. I know we've been covering it a lot, and we're kind of saying when it's consolidating around that all-time high in a more bullish market, bullish posture, it will pop. It normally does pop, not all the time. Pop cat 56%. So congratulations if you, move through here. You can see on the fund, I've got some buys laid in here. We're buying all three here, and we've moved through that. Had a really good month. So yeah, all that looks really, really good. Some of these meme coins, though, not showing too much strength. I would love to just hold fire on a couple of them, wait till some of these resistance. I mean, Pepe looks actually okay here, but why are you waiting? Why are you really buying here? You can on top of these moving averages. I don't really have. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah, it's 20% higher. It's probably actually better risk reward now that it's on the volume support and all that there. Yeah, momentum's a little bit down. Not a lot of signal, I got to say. Dog, I know Joe's huge on this, and yeah, I am too. This chart is actually a big opportunity in my view. You close above there at 4343. You can see why it's important. You close above this sort of move that it had up here. It's had its higher low bounce up through here. Close above this volume support, and dogs off. So love that a lot. Beams had a really annoying pullback here, but it's not the end of the world. I think it's now come back, really validated this move up. It's in the sort of the buying zone, so I really like that, but I really want to see it pop above that 200, like everything. I want to see it above these core moving averages. CETUS, I consider it a proxy on SUI. It hasn't made an all-time high yet, or at least moved up like so we did. It did have a little move, but it wasn't like it's been previously where you see an outsized move for something that's on, say, SUI. We did have, I think, what was it from the low there? We've had about a 23% move, which is quite strong, of course. And it is breaking out of this sort of pennant that I've got drawn here. So I'd be watching CETUS as well, because CETUS could easily make a new all-time high, potentially before SUI does. So watch these charts, because you're going to make a lot of money. And again, strength. Look for strength, guys. It's just the same as if we're looking at, Solana. I'd be looking at Drift. Absolutely. Because Drift has been bleeding out a lot recently. And if Sol starts going, which is, again, has been very disappointing of late, it's going to have its move. But when it does, identify the breakthroughs and see that strength come in and go, all right, now it's Sol time. I need a pivot. Maybe SUI starts to lose a bit of momentum. You go, all right, I'm going to move some of that into Sol. So lots of things that look good here, guys. I would just be thinking we need to see us conclusively back above that 64,000 level with the 200-day moving average to get really excited again. But so far, so good. Looks like October will finish rather strong. So have a great day. We'll catch you again soon. Bye-bye.